Hi.
How's it going, Scooter?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Appreciate the time and want to get into this tour and look backwards and forwards a little bit with you.
Nice.
Dude, I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but just to give you my background a little bit, 13 Ways to Bleed on stage was my introduction to Cold. And they always say you have your whole life to make your first impressions, and it was a great first impression. Although I was completely wrong, I thought it was your debut album, and you guys were a band out of Boston with
Uh,
Wicked.
yeah.
Just
Well,
got
yeah.
Wicked, but I was completely off on all of that.
Well, I mean, at least you found it at 13 Ways, which was that was an important one.
But I imagine a lot of people think that that was your first album because that was the one that made the most noise.
I think so. The first album we did, we kind of just it got us into everything and started the process of us touring nationally and things like that. Um, but yeah, once 13 Ways came, it was just there was a surge. Um, and it was just the timing with everything, it was perfect.
And I imagine all written. There was no carryover from that first album. You don't seem like the type. I feel like you kind of write for each session. I imagine.
Well, it's funny you say that because I explain it as we're doing it. We're doing the 13 Ways tour right now, and honestly, those songs, minus a couple, I think just got wicked. Was the only one that may have not been, in our arsenal from the Grundig days when we were younger.
Ah,
We had, yeah, we had so much material back then when we went in to do the Red album that we had chosen, Ross and us had got together and we picked specific songs. Um, but yeah, there was a lot of songs on 13 Ways, minus End of the World and Just Got Wicked. But all the other ones were just from our past
oh
and
wow.
yeah, from back in the day. So yeah, I mean, we had brought in Terry to play guitar with us on that, and he changed he brought in the way he plays guitar with the tapping and all that stuff. It kind of changed what Cold was at that time.
And was Terry
Lord,
was Terry
sorry, my
all
phone
good?
is
Was
going
Terry the one
crazy.
that used to wear the Michael Myers mask too?
Yeah, yeah, and he later went on to play with Evanescence. Yeah, Terry's a great guy.
And speaking of working on that album, pretty cool that Chris Vrenna worked on that album as well. How did you connect with him for that?
Yeah, well, we had wanted Adam Casper to produce the record, and we wanted to do it in Seattle because were just such a fan of the grunge scene and all of these things. So when producers started shopping around at the beginning of that record, we had checked out a few, but Adam Casper had a cool place that he worked out up in Seattle, and he had did some of the last Nirvana tracks, a few Foo Fighters things. So we kind of felt like, and he was a really he let the band just come in and play and just recorded them. He recorded what it was, and that's kind of what we wanted at that time. He definitely offered advice and things like that. He's a great producer, and certain producers do that. So other producers, want to jump in a little more and just create, make it a more of a team effort. But Adam was that guy, so I thought that was the right move to make, and um, I don't know, it just worked out, man. It was great. Yeah.
And then he
So I
brought
don't
in
know if I
Chris.
answered the full question. Yeah, Chris Renna. So with Chris Renna, once we got it back to LA, and we were wanting all these little cool drum samples and things like. So with Chris, he was a friend that was in the world that we were in, and we had hooked up with him and asked him to do it. And I was like, oh man, we got all the guys from Nine Inch Nails, so it was awesome. So yeah, we just went to Chris's house and did that.
Oh
Um,
wow.
we spent like a couple of weeks because he had a studio there where he was working out of. And yeah, man, we just went there, and he already had a lot of stuff already completed for us in there. But we did a lot of. It was cool just to be in his presence and experience all that. But yeah, and then Terry did his thing, and then Chris did his thing, and it all came together to form what was 13 Ways.
Love it, man. It's certainly my favorite album in the band's catalog. I think just because it was that first impression, you
Yeah,
know, in doing this album live, also really cool that you're playing it in sequence, I imagine.
we are. We That was weird because I was like, I don't know if an actual album plays like when we did the Year of the Spider anniversary. We changed it up a little bit for live because the ebbs and flows of a show, and the cold shows are usually an emotional type of thing that we go through and the audience goes through as well. So we wanted to make sure that still had it with 13 Ways, and then I right at the last minute, and we're doing Different Kind of Pain as well, so we're doing two albums in their entirety. um Different Kind of Pain, I think, just was perfect for doing it in the order it was on the record, and that set up 13 Ways to Bleed on stage, for because we play that one second. um
Ah,
so yeah, so it just all kind of fell in, and 13 Ways, I don't know, man. There's a lot of good songs on there. So I feel like every song that we play, all the fans are just like, "What?" I don't know if they acknowledge how many of those songs impacted them as they're going through it during the show.
man, it must be weird too, a little bit, doing 13 Ways because it starts off with such a banger. I mean, Just Got Wicked, She Said, No One, End of the
Yeah,
World. I feel like those are like
I know.
the biggest
It's
songs.
funny. There was a guy that yelled the other day, and I thought he was yelling like being an asshole. I thought he was like being the drunk guy in the crowd, and he kept yelling. And I heard even somebody say, "Go get another beer." And then, but then like after the fifth song, I go, "Man, I have to address him because he's kind of annoying other people, right?" So I go, "Sir," I go, "You keep yelling at me between songs." I go, What are you saying?" He goes, "Man, I keep saying yelling banger after banger." All right. He goes, "I can't help it, man." I go, "All right, well, thank you." I said, "I thought you were yelling something else, but I'll take that." So
That's really cool. So you're doing it in kind of a reverse order. You're doing a different kind of pain first and then 13 Ways.
yeah, just yeah, I think Different Kind of Pain is a way more emotional type of thing where people get in their feels. So I want them to come and go through that first with us, and then we take an intermission, and then we come back, and I take them. I say that I'm going to take you to a little earlier time in your life where they can just tear it up and have fun.
Go back to the days of
Yeah,
CDs.
yeah. You're not gonna you'll leave a little angst in you maybe or something. Feeling good.
We got you coming through SoCal, going to be at the Troubadour on May 9th, and then the Parish
Yep.
Room again on May 10th. And, looking at the AdMat initially, it was kind of like, whoa, that not what you would expect with September Morning out as direct support. Kind of
Yeah.
a different trip, but I imagine the tour going great. Emily, getting along with Emily and everyone.
Yeah, it's going good. I honest, they're definitely a different style band than we are. I never want to bring like a package deal where every band sounds the same or similar or a big new metal thing. I want people to come to cold shows. Like we always bring out our guys, and half the band, the players are in a band called University Drive, and they're an indie band. And I always love bringing them out because the juxtaposition of those guys playing and then cold, it just gives people that may have not listened to something, uh, that they're in their wheelhouse, they will, give them something new to listen to and something they might gravitate towards.
Next time you have a death metal band out with you. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
you never know. If I will take a death metal band out in a heartbeat.
it touched upon a different kind of pain and, certainly a different album, album two, 13 Ways, and then album four, not only a different vibe on that album, different label, different producer. Was there a
Mhm.
big change going from, working with Jordan Schur to Jason Flom?
Um, he kind of came in at the end of it because we were at Atlantic, and then Jason had called me And Lava was a subsidiary of Atlantic, and he really wanted to take over from for Atlantic for that album. So Jason was awesome. Jordan was awesome. They were both like they were just bros, you know. So I feel like either way, it was a good experience for us, for me, doing those albums. The producer thing, I always want to switch up producers. I don't you know, it's rare that I was talking about maybe doing something in the future with a producer that we have worked with before, to kind of rekindle a certain thing, and that's a possibility that that might happen in the future.
Hmm.
But I like switching up. I like always changing. I don't want any record to be the same. I don't want it to sound the same. I want it to have a different vibe, a different theme. Um, and I feel at the end of my career, I can look back and I can have a catalog of, you know, even though they're all still cold, they have a distinctive sound of a distinctive time when we created those albums.
You know, touching upon the different producers, was Elvis much more hands-on, or did he kind of just let you do your thing?
Oh, Elvis was definitely, he was a mix. He would let the band do their thing, and then he would be like, "Hey man, what about doing this guitar part?" And he would play guitar and a couple things, you know, and just bring in these cool things, piano. Um, he kind of elevated things a little bit for us. I feel things I wouldn't have thought of, and he was a genius. I love Elvis.
And same question we talked about with 13 Waves. Was there any carryovers for a different kind of pain, or was that all freshly written?
Different kind of pain was definitely it was all fresh. It was like that was I was going through a lot of hard times with my life, and I was battling addictions, bad relationships, my sister with cancer, and I kind of I was super depressed. I was at a point where I wanted to end my life, and I didn't. And that piano at the beginning, I tell this story on stage as well during the tour. The piano melody at the beginning of A Different Kind of Pain. At the time I was attempting to take my life, played in my head,
Hmm.
and I go, well, I go, can't even kill myself without hearing a song that I might need to record. Or this is good. Is this good? And so, yeah, it saved my life. I tell people music saved my life many times throughout my life, or saved me from falling into a deeper place. And that moment, that that piano melody definitely saved my life, and it formed an entire record. Like that whole thing with the incident that happened was on the beach that I'm discussing talking about, and so the whole thing just evolved around the ocean and uh, all the things, you know, that happens all the time. Video with the me on the beach with the ambulance, and I just wanted everybody to put them all in that moment.
Have you ever thought about
So
playing the piano live on stage?
I do. I've played many times on stage. On this tour, we're not.
I feel like this
She
tour
said,
would
I think,
beg for it.
yeah, yeah. But I've definitely, well, She Said is the one that's mainly, well, and Different Kind of Pain. But we have carried pianos with us throughout other tours. I just kind of on this one, I wanted to sit back a little bit, and the fact that we had four bands, I didn't want to take up too much stage because I'm always aware of that for other bands. And just be cool, but it still plays well, and it's it's good.
Love it, man. You know, talking so much about the past, are we working on any new music at this point? What can we look towards the future?
Yes, well, that's another reason why I wanted to do Different Kind of Pain and 13 Ways to Bleed on stage. It's almost, it's we're about a year, or not a year, a few months away from actual Different Kind of Pain's anniversary. So I go, I know this anniversary thing with Year of the Spider was successful, the 13 Ways thing is successful, but I go, why don't we just throw Different Kind of Pain on there as well? Take care of all that at one point, so I don't have to go do another anniversary tour. Because if I don't, then everybody's going to be yelling at me about it. What, we're not going to do Different Kind of Pain. I'm like, yes, we already did it. So, um, and it was important for me to do that. So I think doing both those albums now gives us the the levity to have time and just work on new music and put that out and move forward from those types of things.
So maybe next year?
Yes, 100%. Like I'm writing right now, so I'm gonna say by next summer, there will be a cold album out.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome, man. I appreciate all the time. Last thing I wanted to hit you with, man, it's coming up pretty quickly here, July 5th, the big Ozzy final show. And I feel like
yeah.
we got to give some sort of salute and pay tribute to one of the greats of all time. And, I'll start with this hypothetically singing, because they keep adding all these different singers to the bill.
Yeah.
Hypothetically singing, if you got that call and they said, hey, you want to sing an Ozzy or a Sabbath tune, what do you think it would be?
Oh, it would. I mean, I would think what the Changes song, you know?
Changes, yeah,
Yeah,
Sabbath.
I think Changes would be a good one for me to sing.
More piano.
Yeah, exactly. And I can hit that register. I think I'm good with that. I don't know. Some of the other stuff, maybe not, or maybe Old Sabbath.
It's amazing for when 13 ways and different kind of pain and you're the spider. It's amazing that you kind of came up during that era, the Ozfest era, but never did do
Yeah.
an Ozfest. Did you ever share a stage with Ozzy over the years?
We had not. We had a chance to play Ozfest. We were signed up for it, and something came up where um, I think it was either Sained or Godsmack or both of them together had wanted us to come and do their tour. And at that time, we were promoting something, one of the albums, and it just for the record label jumped in and we're like, it was kind of funny because I felt like I got the blame for it, like I pulled out of it, but it was a situation where it made more sense to have more time on stage and play in front of those things with that tour instead of Ozfest. Because I think on the Ozfest at that time, it was our first go at it. And I think we only got like, what, 18 minutes or something. It would have been like 4 or 5 songs, maybe,
Right.
maybe. And then we go and play in Coliseums and have 30, 35 minutes each night and play in front of 10,000 people a night. So, yeah. And it was, it made sense. And that was just a business move. But yeah, I always wanted to play Ozfest.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like the right timing for it, but it makes sense too, not wanting to go on at 11 a.m. and plan for Godsmack
For
and
sure. Yeah, and that would have sucked, man. Like 10:30 in the morning for 20 minutes. I was like, yeah, this sounds way better. And they got catering. We're good.
indoors, no sun to deal
Yeah,
with.
it was nice. So
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for the time. Thanks for doing this tour and can't wait for the new music too.
thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man.
We'll see you soon. Thank
All
you,
right.
Scooter.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.